Hey there YouTube, Adam Hodgson here, back again for another Airsoft video review. It's been a while, I know, since I've done a video review. I've had a lot going on, mainly things like a brand new job, and I've been delving into that quite a lot. My other half is playing a lot of Airsoft with me as well, whenever we get the opportunity. She's got a fair armoury, including a new Marui Desert Eagle, which I got her for anniversary. But I'm amassing quite a new one as well, so I figured it was about time to do some Airsoft reviews. Today I'm going to bring you a review of the Tokyo Marui M870 gas-powered pump-action shotgun. This is a really cool gun. Being pump-action is really nice to rack it. As it is gas, you also get that nice effect, but it also has a few extra hidden features which make this a really cool and very effective airsoft gun on the battlefield. So, most Tokyo Marui guns back in the day were made out of ABS plastic. Marui are always innovating, they're always coming up with new ideas, including an electric AA-12 3-barreled shotgun, which is going to be coming out very soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. This, however, is going to be the pump-action option that they've had out for a little while. There are various ones, including one without the stock here, with pistol grip and slightly shorter, so it's really good for CQP. I believe it's the stubby version, or something along those lines. The really cool thing about this is most of it is also metal. There are a few plastic parts, being a hollow stock which will hold your gas tank, as well as the pump action section right at the very front. The really good bit though is down the barrel. If you guys can see that, there are 3 very small barrels in there with fixed hop-up units that will allow you to fire between 3 and 6 BBs per shot, depending on which mode you have it set in. We'll be coming on to that a little later. What you can also do here is if you unscrew your shell holder right at the front, which would be your magazine tube, you get a thread on there. Not so that you can whack on suppressors or such things, but you can modify it slightly. Here I have what I believe is a GMP one, a GMP extended mag tube. Doesn't actually do anything, it's just there for looks, and I think it makes it look tactical. It does have a small spring inside, so you could put in some shells on the inside. It won't do anything other than just hold them. You can't actually access them without unscrewing it, but it's a cool little feature, so I do like that. So I prefer it like this, it looks awesome. Then you've got your pump, so all you have to do in order to fire it, obviously you'll have to take it off a safe, rack it back, you then have to physically rack it forwards, and then you can fire your gun, which is currently empty, may I add, and there's no gas in, and you can fire. However, every time you have to rack it, it just brings a smile to your face. It is awesome. Very easy to rack as well. It's also very supported here by metal rods. I believe they may be steel, so it makes it very strong, very durable. I wouldn't recommend going, "Wow, do it, get to the chopper," and Arnold Schwarzeneggering it, as the amount of tension that will go through these rods may be enough to break your gun. So just be very careful when you rack it. It is strong, it is durable, but be sensible with it. On the very top here, you've also got part of your sight system. At the front, you have a fixed sight post, so you can obviously help to aim. On the rear, you have a few options. You've got a 20mm rail, so that you can put on any kind of optic that you'd like. If you want to run an EOTech or a red dot, you can. I personally don't like that on a shotgun, but it does also have a built-in bead sight, which is adjustable. You just screw it in or screw it out, so you can move it higher or lower, so you can adjust your elevation. Really cool feature. I'm not fussed about the rail. I would have personally liked to have had the ability to add rails on the foregrip, for example, or somewhere else, so you can actually have a flashlight on here. In CQB games, it's very useful to have a flashlight, and not being able to mount one is a bit of a downside. There are many aftermarket parts out there, so you can modify it. You can get a variety of different grips. However, they don't go straight on straight away, and it does require some disassembly of your gun. If you're not very sure how to do that, have a word with your local airsoft gun shop and they can sort you out. You've also got your ejection port. In order to access that, you rack the slide back and it'll hold in place. Keep it pulled back. Normally on most AEGs, you'd adjust your hop-up unit. On here, it's a fixed hop-up. Instead, what you get is a small little dial. From here, if you push this little dial backwards, this little slider, it allows you to fire 3 rounds for every shot. Push this forwards towards the end of the barrel, it'll click in place, and you can then fire 6 rounds per shot. It does add quite a difference. Firing 3 rounds will give you that little bit of extra range, better gas efficiency, and better ammo usage. If you have it on 6, really good for clearing out rooms, really good for the spread. But even though it is a shotgun, at close range it's surprisingly got quite a tight grouping. So you do have to have some sort of aiming going on, as opposed to firing from the hip. you do have to aim with this thing. At longer ranges, it becomes slightly less of an issue as the spread will go out a lot more, just like a typical shotgun. But depending on how you have it, 3 or 6 rounds a shot is a really cool feature that not a lot of shotguns out there have. You can get the standard pump action ones that are spring loaded that fire 3 rounds. Very stiff to rack. This is very easy, and it's also gas, so you get that little extra oomph to it as well. Feet per second is also quite reasonable depending on the gas you use. You've also got your safety on the trigger guard, a little dial here, push towards the right hand side. If I rack it and try and fire, it's on safe. Push this little dial, in this case towards me, to the left hand side of the gun, and it's on fire. Little red ring, if you can see it, will appear just around it, showing that you are on fire. From there, once it's racked, you can fire. You could slam fire the gun, holding the trigger down and firing. It won't be as good for gas efficiency. It's also going to make you look like a bit of a noob and probably put some more strain on your internal parts. However, it does give you the option to do that if you really want to, or if you're in a bit of a stressful situation. Just try and be very thoughtful with it. I've also added on here a single point loop, so I can have it on, as there isn't really anywhere to put on a sling. You do have a very tiny sling loop that you could put in here. I've got some paracord on, and you could also put it on the front end. Just it's not very good, it's not very sturdy, so I wanted something a bit stronger. From here you've also got, this would be to release your slide, so you can move the action when there's a round loaded in there. However, it opens up the loading port from which you can put in a single shell. Now these are the old style Springer shotgun shells from the old days, where you can hold around 30 rounds for one shot. Tokyo Marui do their own ones. They do look really cool, like real shotgun shells. These are some of the cheaper ones that you can get a hold of, and they work absolutely fine. It's a nice simple case of load in your rounds with a speed loader, whack them in, and it will hold up to 30 rounds. That means that you can fire, depending on the mode you have it in, between 5 and 10 shots before you have to reload, so make sure you've got some handy. That's why I've also got a little saddle on the back so I can hold some shells. You can get, I believe from Marui or other companies, a proper side saddle mount that will mount onto your receiver, which is cool. But what I've also done, I have this on my rig when I'm running my shotgun, is a holder here so I can crack it open, and I have access to 6 more shells as well as the spare 4 that I'll have on here. So you get a lot of ammo. Again, there's no gas in there, no rounds in it, so you literally whack it straight in, clicks in place, close the door for extra added security, and from there you can rack it and fire. Really, really cool. Because of that, it makes it very skirmishable as opposed to having to pick up shells like the Marusian ones, which would be a bit of a pain in the arse, or having to undo it and fill them up with a speed loader. This makes it really easy to skirmish with, and you do get that really cool reloading. To take out the shell, literally it's a case of you can push that button carefully and it will slightly release, and you can pull it out, or do it fully. If you give it a bit more of a push, it will come flying out, so you can do those very quick reloads. And then you've got your plastic hollow stock. In here will hold your gas tank. 2 little soft points on here. All you do is just squeeze them together and you can remove the rubberized butt pad. It's spring loaded, so it returns back very nicely. Just keep in mind that if you're not careful, you can lose this. I've had this come off in a couple of games. Nothing major, just got to be very careful. Don't run around and dive too much with it. Otherwise, try and do something to secure it. Maybe some tape. Won't look as cool, but it's good. I don't do that because I've actually got a couple of gas tanks, so if I need to, I can replace them as well as have a lot of ammo. The gas tanks here are filled up with gas, obviously, through this little nozzle here. Get your gas tank, push it down and hold it until it's filled. This will hold an absolute butt ton of gas, so you shouldn't have to worry too much. As it is gas powered though, you will also get a little bit of cooldown, so if you fire very rapidly, it's going to cool down, your gas efficiency will go down, but you're also going to have problems with your FPS. It might also affect your range if you fire too rapidly, so keep that in mind. It'll take 144A gas, which is what they recommend, but it will take things up to green gas. Bear in mind you've got to keep in line with your sight limits, so have the gas to match your limits and also match the weather. Marui don't recommend using green gas in these, as it's a very high powered gas and it may break their components. I'm here to tell you that works absolutely fine. However, I recommend, if you're storing it, to use 144A gas. I found in my experience holding green gas in these will cause your gas tank to bulge. It won't explode or anything like that, it's just it will bulge and then you'll get gas leaks, which means you have to take it apart and fix it, or take it to your local reputable your local reputable airsoft gun shop to get it fixed. So I'm using in here 144A gas today, and I will be doing a little bit of shooting with this, but just bear in mind that. Very easy to put it in, just push it in till it clicks, and you're good to go. If you want to release the gas tank, there's a little silver lever here, push that down, and you can, as you can hear, empty out some of the gas and remove your tank for changing it or refilling. So that's in, put on the butt pad, slap it home, and you are good to go. So the really cool thing about it being pump action is that not only do you get all that really cool feel, it's very easy to rack, but what you're also going to do is get a little bit of gas expelling from the end here. So I've got a set of safety goggles. Always be safe whenever firing an airsoft gun because it is firing a projectile. And let's load this sucker up. So I've got this loaded with 30 rounds. Open the door, bring it in, rack it back, and you're good to go. This is currently set on 3-round mode. Let's see if I can give you a little bit of shot from the front. You get that little bit of gas expelling from the back. Rack it again. Very cool. If I rack it back, I can then bring it onto 6-round mode. Just as easy as that. And away you go. Once it's empty, as you can see, it will still keep firing. So you will have to then eject it, whack in a new shell. This one is empty. And you can begin firing again once you rack the slide. So overall, this is a really cool, really effective gas-powered shotgun for the airsoft battlefield. You do get fairly good range out of this, fairly good accuracy. Over ranges it will then spread, but overall this is primarily meant to be a CQB weapon. There is some aiming involved, obviously. As with a shotgun, you can't expect to aim over this side of the room and hit you still in the camera all the way over there. So some aiming is involved. But you know what, I think this adds perfectly to the realism side of things, and it's very functional unlike some of the other airsoft shotguns out there, and it won't kill you racking the slide back. So you don't have to have biceps like Arnold Schwarzenegger in order to operate this bad boy right here. So it's worth having a look online. Tokyo Marui Pump Action M870 shotgun. This is available from all major airsoft distributors, so check it out now and keep your eyes peeled for the next airsoft review brought to you by me.